All right. Hey, there we
Go.
are. All right. And
Set
we
up.
are live. Welcome to Talking Heads, everyone. Episode 251, although that number is a little contentious because I think we counted wrong all along. If you've never seen the show before, we talk beer, we talk tech, we talk games, pop culture, entertainment, usually some Star Trek. All super chats are read on the air so long as they will not permanently demonetize the channel. We do drink alcohol on the show, and if you're drinking along with us, alcoholic or not, let us know in the chat and we'll give some early show shoutouts as we go along. Last but not least, if you'd like to take part in the super secret chat and the even more super secret after party, think about joining the Patreon. Link is down in the video description. As a bonus, you'll get exclusive access to the Discord server, where you can chat with myself, John, Rhett, Steve, all the hosts from Talking Heads, and join the awesome community that hangs out over there.
Yeah.
Here we are.
Here we are.
Here we are. We're here.
Yeah, I don't know how many episode counts were off. I just noticed last week was 249 and the week before was 249. I'm like, all right, something's wrong.
Yeah, something's wrong. Now here's a little spoiler. Way back years ago, I wound up skipping a number by accident. So, because we repeated one, this may actually be episode 250. I'm not quite sure, but I'm not going to go back and renumber everything. So I'm just going to go with what the most recent count was.
They're now lost forever in the archives.
Right, so I'm just going to call this 251. If you were looking forward to a 250 celebration, that's not even the big number. The big number is 256. We escaped the 8-bit realm, and we have to start cruising towards 16. So that's the big number.
Yeah, we'll hit 256. Oh, what is it? Next
Middle of
month.
October?
Yeah. Middle of October, 12th or 19th.
Yeah.
Depends if we forget an episode.
Depends on if we skip another one.
Yeah.
How's it going tonight, John?
Rush today was, it wasn't horrible, but it was kind of stressful. Today was my first day my son went to school.
Oh yeah.
So it was kind of like, it's a big day. Also had to wake up early. Always kind of like texting my wife. So have you heard from anyone? Did the teacher call? Is he crying? Is he breaking down? What's going on? No, everything went great. So.
Nice. Yeah, no, we're getting Little Bit registered as well. So she had a teacher meeting yesterday, and then placement tests today, and then she starts officially on Monday.
Yeah.
Is the way our schedules are working here. So yeah, it's been a little hectic the last couple of days. That and every project I have attempted hates me right now.
Yeah. I was building, so I had some vacation time, and I was gonna like try to do some of my own stuff in the shed, and so I was like, I'm gonna build my media server with my Xeon. And I'm doing that. It was during one of those 99-degree days, and in my shed, so I have the air conditioner going, and it's getting really hot in here. So I'm feeling the power break, and it's like, oh, this is kind of warm. I think it can handle just a little bit more. And it's in the middle of formatting the drive, and the power blows.
Yeah.
And I hit the drive, like, you have no drive disk. no drive disk found. I was like, oh my God, no. Oh my gosh, I have to start all over again.
Yep.
And this
incidentally, is this the server that I sold you, or is this a different one?
This is a different one.
Okay, gotcha.
This is my Xeon, the same one that you did as a gaming rig. The Z4410 or something like that.
Oh, the Z440. Okay.
Z440. Yeah,
gotcha.
Z4. So I have a Z440.
Gotcha.
So
okay. I was afraid you were going to be running like Harpertown Xeons or something like that, which is the server that I sold you years ago.
Yes. No.
Okay.
This is a new, a bit more. I'm basically just going to make it my Plex server, and take Plex off of my main editing rig, which that's what's running. So anytime any of my family are doing anything, and I'm trying to do some video editing and just clogging up my bandwidth is like, and my CPU power. It's like this doesn't help. So, and then I was trying to set up. I have a little actual PC dedicated for this stream instead of always having my laptop. So I was trying to do 2 projects at once, and I was doing both of those. And finally got this one kind of working last night around midnight, and I was like, I will just not touch it and hope it works, and it seems to be working.
See how that goes.
Yeah. Oh, and then I have, it's all hardwired in here now, so that's nice. So instead of my 20 up and or 20 down and 15 up, I'm getting around 700 down and 40 up. So it's like, okay, nice. I'll take that.
Yeah. A couple of projects last couple of days. Of course, I'm trying to leave for like an extended weekend camping trip and whatnot. So it's like, okay, I'm trying to get like 2 videos out. I have 2 videos lined up. All the parts are here. Everything's ready to go. No. Just straight up no. So without spoiling too many details, I was doing a used Xeon PC. A Xeon platform that I've never really used before, and it should have been a really exciting video. And the tower arrived, and the tower's in excellent shape. But the CPU protection socket fell off during shipping, and there's a giant bag of silica gel that weighs, I don't know, about half a pound or so, rattling around inside the case. So, of course, it bent one of the 3,476 pins, if that gives you any indication as far as what socket, or 3,647 pins, as to what socket we're using. So that was rather disappointing. So instead of like a real quick, easy, like, we're going to build it, we're going to benchmark it, okay, video's done, it ended up being, hey, let's see what it takes to fix bent sockets on the motherboard. And then once the socket was fixed, I still couldn't turn the PC on, and we'll get to that in that video. And so I'm like, okay, well, I'll pivot to another video. Like, at least I'll get one out before I leave. And so it's a network switch. I took apart my entire network, rebuilt the entire network, started firing up the switch, started getting into configurations, and it hates me. So I had to take it down, get everything rebuilt. By the way, that was like 2 hours ago. And I'm leaving for vacation at like 8 o'clock tomorrow morning. So it's like, screw it. Send this video. I don't care. Anyway, enough about...
we both would like a beer.
We would both like a beer. Let me go and read the super chats, and then we will get to the beer. Yes. Tech Geek sending over $20. Thank you very much, good friend. Who is your favorite printer manufacturer, and why is it Brother? Actually, like, Brother's not terrible. I'm typically a fan of HP as far as like mass deployments go. And even in my house, I've ran HP printers before. Not inkjet, never inkjet. Screw inkjet. I hate you. If you make an inkjet printer, I hate you.
You're not a Ricoh guy?
Right. May you step on a sea of 1,000 Legos. Like I hate you. But no, like laserjet printers, I've never had a problem with. My favorite, like, Dark Knight candidate for favorite printer for a long time was actually Samsung. Samsung put out some incredible printers, had some color laser printers that were very affordable. Mm-hmm. Toner was very affordable, but then they sold their printer division over to HP.
Yeah.
And they did away with all Samsung's good software and everything else, and now it's just like the regular HP universal driver, except you can't download the Samsung driver as part of the HP pack, and they don't host everything properly anymore. And actually, the Wi-Fi broke on my Samsung printer for like a year. So we actually just finally replaced it with a brand new HP printer. But yeah, it was actually Samsung, believe it or not.
For the longest time. Yeah, no, I mean, I have an HP here at home. They're the most universal, easy. There's nothing wrong with them. They're most of the time the drivers and everything are very just easy to get, install. It works. Windows will actually most of the time find it and be like, all right, here you go. You know, it works. So.
Yep. Kren sends over 2 Aussie bucks for his weekly g'day.
Right.
G'day, Kren. Denver sends over $2. Talking Heads 251. Tolkien Heads 250. Let's see what you did there. Maven sends over $5 with no notes.
Just thank you, sir.
Sorry. Right below that, any updates on the Radeon MI25 virtualization? I haven't made any headway on it. I had a couple of people reach out with possibly some driver solutions that may work. I'm hoping to circle back on that very quickly, as I have another Xeon server project that is kind of now coming together. That one also fell by the wayside last week, and so we had to pivot away from that. I've got like 4 or 5 projects where it's like, okay, I've solved all the problems, and we're ready to just like plow into next week. But yeah, it hasn't been a friendly couple of weeks for production. Harley sends over $5. Toppling Goliath, 18 hours from Brooklyn, double IPA, 7.8%. Boy, we have ourselves a very happy coincidence. Happened to be the beer I grabbed out of my fridge. So I will be drinking that one with you, good sir. And Big Spoon sends $1.99. Hops has bad taste in seltzer.
He did a TikTok video where he reviewed the exact same seltzer I recommended, and him and his wife thought it tasted like soap and garbage. And I said it was fantastic. It was probably I thought it was one of the best seltzers I've ever had. So,
well, you've said that about a lot of things.
Yeah, that's true.
Depends on how many beers you had before.
Yeah, it's all about, how much did I drink before. Well, it was the Stone seltzers. And they don't have any of that back sweetener to them. So all of the flavors are very light.
Yes.
And I thought I really enjoyed that aspect of them and thought I like this a lot better because it's just like having a nice seltzered water that's just flavored. And there's not that super sweet back sweetener or the artificial soda flavor or anything like, the stevias. None of that was there. It's just a light cherry, a light orange, light.
Yeah.
And so I was like, I really like that. That's what I personally like in seltzers.
Yep. Ian Cuttress checking in, Mr. Tech Potato himself. He's using a 12-year-old HP LaserJet Pro. He's changed the black ink twice and now needs to change the yellow. Ethernet connectivity works fine. It's the M277 DW. And actually, for those wondering, I just ordered myself an HP M29W. So just a monochrome LaserJet printer, no frills. $140, has Wi-Fi, so I don't have to run Ethernet cables, and it connects to a client network instead of doing weird, like, ad hoc, connect your Chromebook up to this printer's Wi-Fi access point and print while not having access to the things that you wanted to print because you're on a Chromebook. It's just a printer, and it works over Wi-Fi, and it's great. So, all right, John. What are you drinking tonight?
I don't know because I have. I think I'm gonna start off big.
Start off big. I got a couple of moderates.
I have something. I had 2. I was gonna open and both were huge, and I was like, oh, I can't. But this one, I think you're gonna be jealous of the flavors.
Uh-oh.
Or they're just interesting. Now, and it's a sour.
Okay.
All right. It's called Smoke Sting. Before I show you, it's a fruited sour ale aged in mezcal. Ooh. And finished with lemon juice, blackberry honey, blackberries, sage, and rosemary. 14.7%. So I am intrigued on this one.
Wonderful.
Right?
I mean, it really does. So I was in my local shop the other day, and one of my favorite seasonals hit the shelves, and I was not aware that they made this in larger than pints. So of course I had to pick one up.
Oh yeah,
Megalodon.
Yeah, baby.
So this is an annual release from Ninkasi. It is a very sought after IPA for beer trades and that kind of thing. We happen to live close enough to Eugene that for pretty much 4 months of the year. It's in stock. It's on shelves. It's readily available. It is not a rare beer for us, outside of the fact that it's just a seasonal release. Yep. But absolutely fantastic. 10%, 70 IBU, and honestly, a West Coast classic.
Oh my gosh. This is sweet. You can taste that mezcal, that weird, I don't know even how to describe mezcal. It's not smoky or spicy. It's just this really weird flavor with the blackberries.
Yeah. Well, mezcal would be an oaky sweetness is typically what you get with that. That, and because it's an agave base, sometimes you'll get hints of that tequila, that agave, that little bit more of a citrusy sweet.
Yeah, you definitely taste like blackberry and honey and a little oakiness. Yeah. And my gosh, this thing is, for a sour, it's thick. Mm-hmm. It is like.
Well, I would hope so at 14.5%.
Yeah, it's. I wouldn't say like a port wine. It's like a very sweet dessert wine, but not super like that. What's that Jewish wine? Manischewitz.
Yeah.
It's like that thickness.
Okay. Well, that's a reference out of left field.
All right.
Well done. I like that. All right. Well, let's go ahead and jump into the news. A little bit of a gaming-heavy news week. The Apple event was today. I happened to not watch it because I was fighting with my own home network forever, and honestly, it was just an iPhone event from what I know. In fact, let me go ahead and load up Apple Insider really quick, and we'll check it together, just so we're all on the same page, because I'm sure there's some people who are curious. Oh, shoot, I forgot to...
Oh, yeah, you got other screen.
Yeah, hold on, we'll find it. There it is. Oh, did you get moved over? No. Hold. Oh,
more of me.
Different monitor. I know what's wrong. There we go. All right. Apple unveils the iPhone 14 Pro, iPhone 14 Pro Max. Apple debuts Watch Series 8. They have MagFit handles that are getting official Apple support. iOS 16 will help you identify counterfeit AirPods. I know they're counterfeit. They're counterfeit. I didn't want to spend $229. Mine actually just broke. My wife does use actual AirPods. I bought her some. The AirPod Gen 2 are some of the only earbuds that fit in my wife's ears, and she absolutely loves them. Myself, I use a set of Skull Candies, the ANC, the Indie ANCs, and these are amazing. But yeah, she loves her AirPods. I've got nothing against them. But yeah, pretty much iOS updates. AppleCare Plus now allows unlimited accidental damage repairs, assuming you pay the deductible. Verizon One Unlimited for iPhone plan includes Apple One subscription, so cool. Yeah. New bands. Anyone need a new watch band? Because apparently that's worthy of a keynote. All right. Apple news. Done.
Yeah, there it is.
Moving on to gaming. Steam has... the Steam Deck, rather, has definitely made an impact in its about 8 months or so on the market. Markedly with the games that are being played on a daily basis on Steam. You would think, being a PC platform, you just pick it up and you have the same 10 games that always dominate the list, like CS:GO and Red Dead Redemption 2 and Skyrim and games like that. And while there are some notable games still in the top 10 here, this list is vastly different on the Steam Deck than it is for Steam on the PC side of things. And there's some really interesting games on this list. So, the Twitter account On Deck, which is the official Twitter account for the Steam Deck, showed us the 10 most popular games that people are playing, actually playing, play hours and number of times opened on the Steam Deck. And the top one on the list is a $3 game called Vampire Survivors. We've also got Cult of the Lamb. And then we get a couple of AAAs. We've got Elden Ring and Marvel's Spider-Man Remastered, which if you have not played either of those, highly recommend. Number 1, if you like Souls games, Elden Ring. Number 2, Spider-Man is just chef's kiss as far as like freestyle combat should go. We've got Stardew Valley. We've got No Man's Sky. Hades making an appearance. Hades definitely more of a kind of a cult classic game where it's got this massive cult following, but seems to be kind of like under the radar of a lot of like top 10 lists. Really happy to see Hades making an appearance. We've got Multiversus. We've got, of course, Skyrim comes in at number 9, and then Monster Hunter Rise at number 10.
Yeah. I'm not too surprised, though, that a low-cost game and a low-budget game for a handheld, because people are like, I have this handheld device. What game that's probably low, not very large or anything, can I just put in here and plug and go? And there's plenty of addictive, fun-playing, low-budget, third-party games that are out there. Mm-hmm. I'm not surprised something like this has happened. I have also noticed, too, a lot of the Steam Deck orders are now being fulfilled finally. My boss just got his in. Someone in chat said theirs is just now said it got shipped. So I think a lot of people are just getting it and being like, what's new that's not on my PC that's meant for more of this handheld style?
Right.
So.
Right. So to put that into perspective, those games themselves, if we scroll down on the Steam hardware list here, let's see if I can find that. There we go. We've got the following games. We've got, of course, Counter-Strike Go number 1, Dota 2 number 2, Apex Legends number 3, Destiny 2 number 4, PUBG Battlegrounds. We've got Team Fortress 2, Rust, GTA 5, Warframe, and then Wallpaper Engine as the number 10 application that is run on Steam. So again, a drastically different list, but when you consider the input method and the style of games that you'll be playing, I was actually kind of surprised to see Skyrim so high on that list, because as comfortable as the Steam Deck is, I don't see myself sitting down for a 6-hour gaming stretch on the Steam Deck. I see myself picking it up for an hour to 90 minutes at a time. And that has been the vast majority of my experience with handheld gaming, dating back as far as I can think. Yeah. Like even on like the 3DS or the PSP, I tended to go in 60 to 90 minute spurts. It was never like the only thing that I ever played. So if I was going to play a longer title, I jumped onto the PC for 4 hours.
Well, yeah, that's the thing, is because these are like, okay, I'm going to lie down on the couch and crash and not move. It's almost like watching a movie. You're in this one kind of almost awkward position, lying on the couch or just, relaxing. But you kind of, need to be moving or awkward. I don't know. I've always looked at handheld games of like, okay, I'm either going to play a game on that or watch a movie, and then I'm going to go off. That's my break. And again, it's usually a movie's 90 minutes. So that's usually what my time is going to be on the actual, portable console. I find myself with the Switch that I will play more if it's docked and I have a controller. Just like, or on a PC or something. Yeah, I think it's more of you're sitting down and there's that dedication of I'm going to sit here and play this game and dedicate some time and do some stuff to where that handheld feeling is, like they have always said, on the go. I can pause it, put it in my backpack, back pocket, whatever. And it's meant to be played, a little bit of here and there type thing.
Right.
With Elder Scroll, it's like you're walking through this huge map, essentially doing these large quests. It's kind of not something you're sitting on a bus or, driving in a car in the back seat doing that. You're kind of wanting to keep being engaged and keep being stimulated. I don't know. That's just my take.
Yeah. I've been playing the heck out of my handhelds since the beginning of this year. I had the GPD Win 3 for a good chunk of last year. I did end up selling that console as I didn't use it as much as I thought I would. And the only time I was using it was streaming from my PC to play games on the couch or laying in bed or something like that. I wasn't taking advantage of the rendering, and the games that I wanted to render on that device, it just wasn't quite there. But fantastically comfortable, great device. I just wasn't using it. This year, the devices that have come out this year, the Steam Deck, the Aya Neo Air, the Aya Neo Next, you've got the One X player, you've got the GPD Win Max 2 that just released, or just got announced a couple of days ago. These devices have some actual horsepower behind them, especially like the GPD Win Max 2, which I guess has RDNA with 12 compute units versus most of the handhelds are getting 6, 7, or 8 compute units. So 50% more power than a Steam Deck and a much larger, much brighter, and higher resolution screen to go on top of it. But I found myself with the current generation of handhelds, with RDNA 2 or even the Vega 8 on 7 nanometer, having enough power to play games like Spider-Man Remastered and Elden Ring and GTA 5, Red Dead Redemption 2. But I find myself sitting down with those games for 60 minutes at a time when I'm playing handheld. Again, if I'm going to play for a long session, I come downstairs and I get on my actual gaming PC or play a game on my TV or something like that. So the games that are on there, I'm definitely not surprised. I'm definitely not surprised that games like Hades and Stardew Valley are popping up on there, as they're a little bit more, I don't want to call them casual. They're a little bit more non-time critical. You can get into it, you can play the game, you can have a lot of fun, and then you can get out of it at any point. Games like Red Dead Redemption 2 or GTA or Skyrim, or you even go into one of the games that I've been playing lately on the Aya Neo Air is the Final Fantasy Pixel remasters. Even in some of those games, if you start a quest, you have to go 30 or 40 minutes before your next save point. Yeah. They are kind of a commitment when you get to certain points. That's a good,
interesting point too. Like the save commitment, and I think there's also that feel of I can give up and drop something, or playing a deck of some kind of or console, or put it down on the couch and then walk away and pause it. But then if you're in the middle of it, it's kind of annoying to come back hours later. To where I think if you're on the console, sitting down on the computer, you feel like you're going to dedicate that time. And there's almost that little thing in the back of your head that says, I'm going to be a little bit more annoyed if I get interrupted right now. Where I feel fine being asked to, hey, I need help with something. I put the handheld down and just walk away. It's fine.
Yeah, and with the handheld, basically all the handhelds that I reviewed this year also have amazing suspend modes where you can just tap the power button in a game, and then when you come back to it, tap it again, and you're right back there. There's no boot up sequence. There's no long wait or anything else. But yeah, it's the Steam Deck has definitely changed the landscape. Now, there was a lot of work that was laid in the background by a lot of different companies. You've got Aya Neo, you've got GPD, you've got One X Player, you've got all those other companies that did put some really good work into PC gaming on a mobile platform. And the Steam Deck has kind of upped that competition level, and we're starting to see some innovation come out of that. So I'm really excited for the next couple of years as far as what kind of hardware we're going to get and what kind of playability we're going to see out of games, both from a Windows and a Linux perspective and a mobile and a desktop perspective. Really exciting time in in gaming and hardware in general.
Tech Potato states that he doesn't have time for a handheld because he spends too much time on the road reading tech news.
Yeah.
Well, you can turn your handheld into a scrollable device where you can read the news. So there you go. It's a win-win.
Ian, go watch Linus's latest video on the GPD Win Max 2. 10.6-inch laptop with AMD 6800U and RDNA 2 12CU graphics. Oh, and it's got the 10-inch screen is a 2560 by 1600, 16 by 10, full multi-point touch with pen input, and starting at like 1050 for that configuration. Like it's a good little mobile powerhouse. And he said something that's actually fairly comfortable to hold in gaming mode, but can also be used as a laptop. So maybe that's an option to play some games on the road in between reading tech, all your white papers that you have to read. Craft Computing, no love for Mac gaming. Here's the thing. Is when the M1s got announced, and even more so with the M2s, I was very excited for the possibilities of Mac gaming. However, Vulkan is not a supported API on Mac OS. And so, unless a game has developer support for OpenGL or Metal within Apple's environment, you're not going to be playing it. The difference is that Steam and Linux and the Steam Deck and what Valve has managed to do with DXVK and Wine and all the other compatibility APIs to make Windows games playable on their platform, it's really not possible on the Mac as a platform because Vulkan doesn't exist. They're translating DirectX calls to Vulkan calls and making it work. While Wine itself is compatible, there's not another DX12 translation layer to make that happen. And so regardless of the hardware that is inside the Mac, and make no mistake, even the M1 had like a 1050 to 1050 Ti level performance in a 35 watt package along with the 8-core CPU. Very, very impressive results from that as far as just like raw hardware goes. And the M1 Pro, M1 Ultra, the M2, they've taken that even a step further. But I've said this time and time again, unless software support catches up, there's really nothing that can be done to take advantage of that hardware. So I'd be excited if Vulkan finally came to Mac, if Mac officially opened that up, but they seem to have no interest in that because they want to use their Metal API instead of Vulkan or even OpenGL at this point. So there you go. Ian says, you mean I'd have to pay for something? I know, it's weird. I know. I mean, you could always email them. See how that goes.
Did you see the GPD Win 4 keyboard?
I did. I'm actually really stoked for the GPD Win 4 as well. That's also going to have the 6800U. Here, actually, they shared the chat here. So GPD Win 4, here's the render of it. It's very much in like a PSP form factor, which as far as handhelds go, I love that form factor. I love that design. I love that layout. But they've gotten rid of the touch-sensitive keyboard and returned to physical mechanical keys, which I am all for. And now that they've moved on from the 1157G, which was what was powering the GPD Win 3, even though it had Intel Xe graphics, they're not up to snuff with RDNA 2. This is going to have not only 4 cores and 8 threads of Ryzen 6800U, it's also getting at least 8 compute units of RDNA 2, if not the full 12 that is offered on the GPD Win Max 2. So very, very exciting. Oh, and this is also going to have a full 1080p 6-inch display.
6-inch, yeah.
No word on OLED. I would be really stoked if this would come with OLED, because what I've seen on the Neo Air, man, as far as a 1080p OLED display, the OLED display does such a better job at rendering or displaying non-native resolutions than a standard LCD does. Now you can trick that by having a super high resolution LCD, and 1080p at 5.5 to 6 inch might kind of be that sweet zone for that. But man, if they put an OLED in this,
yeah, I mean, it doesn't say. I mean, so, but yeah, that would be such great color clarity too. I mean, the blacks and everything would be so rich. But yeah, the specs just say display.
Hold on. Graphics, RDNA 2, 12 compute unit. This is going to be a beast of a handheld.
Yeah, this
Never
one,
mind,
this
Ian. Buy that and buy yourself like a mobile monitor and a keyboard to carry on.
I know. That would be fun.
Yep.
Yeah, that one looks sick. I mean, that one I would, although that had pricing. I didn't think there was pricing that came up for that.
I haven't seen pricing. In the past, they've ran between $1,000 and $1,200. I expect a very similar
11.
price point, especially given the 6800U. That is definitely on the premium side of things, and other handhelds that have been hitting the market are right around that $1,000 $1,050 kind of price point. So, yep.
Sick looking. Want it? Won't never buy it, but.
Craft Computing, is the Neo Air really worth the price comparing to Steam Deck prices? Well, the advantage of the Neo Air is you can order one today and have it within like a week. The Steam Deck, you got to wait in line. There's pre-orders. Now, they have been very quickly starting to fulfill more and more pre-orders, but they're still months behind retail. The Neo Air, I really like. The Achilles heel on it is the battery on the standard version. If you up for the Pro version, you get about 30% more battery life, which takes it from an hour to 90 minutes to 90 to 120 at reasonable TDPs. Yes, I love the Neo Air. It is one of the most comfortable and lightest weight handhelds that I own. I like the features on it. I love the OLED display. God, it is freaking gorgeous. You also get a pair of USB-C ports, so if you wanted to get like a set of Unreal Air glasses and still charge it at the same time, you have that ability. And at $650, it's very price competitive with, the mid to high end Steam Deck as far as internals and storage goes. So definitely a great system. Just battery life on the standard edition is not up to snuff. So. Ian says he left his 13-inch portable monitor in a hotel.
You can't get a free one?
Tell you what, the next 7 emails that I get to ask me to review the same 13-inch 1080p portable display, I'll just say yes, and I'll send you 4 of them. I get those daily.
See, what you should do is you will tell him you will do that, but he has to review it, and then that'll go on Craft Extra. And
there you go.
And then you can start handing out all these little tech extra pieces you have to all these other YouTubers, and just have them review it for free. And then that's all your Craft Extra reviews. That's not a bad idea.
All right. Just like every week, this show does have a sponsor, and that sponsor, as always, is Linode. Thank you so much, Linode, for sponsoring today's episode. If you've ever needed to host your own servers, whether it be for home or business use, but don't have the resources to invest into hardware, power, cooling, time, or even space, why not let Linode host them for you? If it runs on Linux, it'll run on Linode. That includes the software for most of the tutorials that you'll find on my channel, like how to run your own ad-blocking recursive DNS servers, VPN gateways, your own cloud-based Plex server, and more. With shared CPU plans starting at as little as $5 per month and scaling up to as high as you need to go, you'll be able to find a hosting plan that fits your needs. Even if you do host your own servers, you can use Linode to keep a backup off-site, because remember, RAID is not a backup. Linode was also the first alternative cloud provider to have NVMe block storage available to all customers. Last year, they began rolling out NVMe drives to all 11 of their global data centers. Best of all, storage rates will remain at the same low price they always have been. Visit linode.com/craftcomputing and get a $100 60-day credit just for signing up for a new account. That's linode.com/craftcomputing, and thanks again to Linode for allowing us to drink for another day.
Thank you, Linode.
Thank you. Thank you for this frosty beverage, Linode.
Mine's nice and warm now.
Mine is getting warm. Yeah.
I can feel it though. I can feel the alcohol.
Your cheeks are a little rosy.
It is tasting like a wine. It's like sitting right up here.
Uh-huh.
And it's like having a sweet wine. I mean, I feel good.
Sean says, Jeff reads this ad much like me reading any of the favorite books for my son. He probably reads this ad in his sleep. When I do books, I do all different voices for all the different characters. I show off my acting and voice acting chops just a little bit for my kids. So, yeah, reading stories at night is rarely just reading stories. It's a full act. So. Fantastic choice on that typeface for the ad spot. Reminds me of Star Trek VI. Yeah, so there are 2 fonts that you will see very regularly on this channel. Actually 3. The font that is on the Talking Heads overlay is Okuda, and it is a clone of the Elcar's font. And so because I wanted an Elcar's border, I found an Elcar's style font, and that is what is all over the Elcar's display. There's a couple other fonts that are called Final Frontier and Final Frontier Old Style. The one in the Linode ad is Final Frontier Old Style, and it is very much like the old school, Star Trek movies, 1 through 6. Final Frontier New Style is, Final Frontier Old Style is a squished one. So the one in the Linode ad is Final Frontier, and it's really large, stretched out letters. Final Frontier Old Style is what is in most of my thumbnails. And that is a much more compressed, tall letter, so I can actually fit more text on the screen while still having it very big and blocky and readable. So, and yes, they are all Star Trek inspired.
Yes, if you've never seen this show or ever heard the intro, we talk a lot of Star Trek, or there's lots of peppered Star Trek themed stuff in the background all over. Especially if you go early on, you'll see Jeff unboxing stuff with bat lists, or that was Rhett. Was that you? I don't remember.
No, I used the batleth once.
Okay.
Yeah, I've done the I've done a couple different knives. I've got a Doc Tog for doing most of my unboxings.
Ceremonial.
In fact, I made a reference to unboxing the latest tower, and I said a most honorable unboxing.
We'll talk later, maybe if we have time. But did you see the last 2 episodes? Okay.
Yes, of course. Well, I saw the first episode. I haven't seen the episode 2 or 3.
I'm
a little behind.
I don't think 3's out, is it?
3rd comes out tonight.
Yeah, 2 is fantastic because there's a lot of Klingon references.
I've seen some screenshots from it. So.
Yeah, General Martok makes a comeback in the best way possible. So it's great.
I can't wait. Anyway, Zachary stealing the show.
Yeah.
Dropping 500 bones. Dude, it's my birthday tomorrow, so starting the party early. Zachary, my
Cheers
friend.
Cheers to that, sir.
Cheers.
Man, we got to get back to the days where Jeff would get that much and you have to take a shot.
Mm-hmm.
You're like, no, it's too early.
back when I was too small for YouTube to demonetize me. Like,
yeah. Yeah, I can't have that abuse on there.
Right. Yeah, they frown at money for shots. So,
Jason's screwed.
I mean, I can't say I didn't do it a couple of times, but and you know, $500 super chat, that definitely earns you choice of next drink, I would say. But happy birthday, my friend.
Cheers.
Hope it's a great one. Ian says, my ADHD is so severe, it's 84K. It's one of my favorite jokes as of late. Amazon has shut down access to the Rings of Power series rating, as well as IMDb deleting ratings due to criticism and negative reviews of the new show.
I haven't watched it, so I don't know.
Yeah, I haven't watched it either. I've seen a lot of the criticisms that have been levied towards it. And I have to say, man, I wish people would just grow up. Have you seen most of the criticisms, John? Have you been reading any of them?
Or? I haven't. I've seen like the previews and what people are just complaining about. Of like, oh, this is what the cost of it has given us. But I've never gone through the comments. Some of the things I've seen, as far as like the intro or anything, like, well, that's a cheesy one, but okay. Yeah. As far as production value, I'm like, oh, this looks great, and you know, spare no expense, and
right.
So again, I haven't watched, so I'm not going to critique. I can't critique, so I try to refrain from judging something till I've seen it. You know, even with like the Game of Thrones, new Game of Thrones is like people said it was bad. Like, I want to watch it. It's like, that's not bad.
Yeah. So a lot of the criticism is coming around the actor selection, and I could not disagree more with people
it's one of those
criticizing. They're saying, why didn't they make Galadriel more attractive? I don't know. Maybe because she's riding a horse and killing orcs and trolls.
What do you mean? That's okay. I was gonna say that's attractive.
Oh, and by the way, I'd still put a ring on that. See what I did there?
How many of them though? Because the Ring of Men have 9.
Right. Well, I'd give her at least 2. So all I see in the negative comments are comments about how unattractive of a woman they picked for Galadriel, which is a lot of incel type criticism. I've also seen comments about like, well, Tolkien never established that there were black dwarves or elves of a different color or anything like that. And it's like, okay, many other fantasy series have, and if they wanted to cast an actor who is not of, I don't know, Irish, English, or, you know, New Zealand descent, why not?
Yeah,
it's a fantasy show. You're telling me there can't be, you know, elves of color?
Yeah, I mean, I've heard like little things, but I never heard I never read the actual comments. I heard people were making that. I was like, oh, I'm betting those are just trolls wanting to stay up at night and have nothing better to do. And to me, though, a lot of this, I've seen I saw a troll, her killing a troll. And that was a clip I saw, and then I saw the intro. I saw that clip of her. I was like, okay, that is over the top, kind of cheesy because there's obvious wire work. Graphically, it looks great. It's not. That's just an artistic choice.
There's that scene in particular. A lot of the trolls went after them for the choreography of that scene. There were so many wasted movements. Oh, she was able to like cut his knee tendons with a single glancing blow. Oh, they would have never done that. Why did she turn away? It's like, Okay.
That's
If
that,
you're
yeah,
coming,
well, that's a
if you're
troll.
coming
That's
from a fan of the Lord of the Rings, and you clapped when Legolas rode down an elephant trunk like a surfboard,
yeah. Oh, that's dumb.
you have no.
Well,
room to talk.
that's see. I guess that's my criticism of that, of them stating that. Okay, she's soon to be the elf queen, essentially, and we know elves are a little bit stronger than humans or man. They age forever, and so I can understand some of this. It was more of like she gets thrown by the sword. It was like, what? Okay, maybe that part it's a little Chinese kung fu-esque too much for me.
It's a fantasy world.
There's that, yeah. So I'm just saying, I don't critique her moves. I'm just like, that one choreographed one move, like, I don't care. But the rest of it, I don't care. The racial stuff, I don't care if the actor's good for the part. The actor's good for the part. I don't care. The only criticism I could see is that if someone was a huge Tolkien fan and then they're saying, this is not how his writings would have been, because obviously he didn't write this. That's a critique I could theoretically understand. It's sounding like none of the criticisms are of that nature.
No, all of the criticisms are of a physical, bigoted
Then go
nature.
Screw themselves.
And normally I would be on the side of, hey, Amazon, people are critiquing your show. Maybe accept the critique. However, when the criticism is literally of a 4chan nature, I fully support Amazon in taking down user reviews and rankings and everything else. Because if you're getting review bombed, that's not genuine criticism.
Well, I mean, shows and movies get review bombed all the time. And if they're good, they stand the test of time and they're fine. The fact, though, that it states that, according to this article anyways, that they planned on doing this already. They're planning on doing this for all of their shows, and they own IMDb, so they're going to do this. And then they started removing low bomb and even mediocre reviews. That was the one criticism in this article. They said even neutral reviews they started deleting. I was like, okay, that's not fair. I can understand obviously some bots or some Reddit users going on there and making a campaign to bomb it. But if someone's saying like, I give this 3 out of 5 because I don't like the graphics, like I just don't like the storytelling. That's a legitimate review, I think.
Yes, it is. And
according to this article, they're deleting that type of review.
Right.
I don't agree with that.
Having seen a lot of the backlash on social media, most of it has been unwarranted. And so... And if you're Amazon, are you going to read every single incel's review to find the one that was like, the CGI in this one wasn't terrific? It's like, oh, that one can stay up, but the one about the Galadriel having peach fuzz and not round enough eyes, and the casting of a elf of color.
That particular, I don't like those. But it's like, because they did a lot of that same stuff with Game of Thrones of. That person didn't have that hairstyle. This person, his nose was technically fully cut off.
No one complained at the appearance of Tyrion Lannister.
They all did. There's a bunch
from the book to.
I mean, there's enough art. There's enough reviews of people saying, the diehard fans saying they doesn't look correct. They made them look too different, to where people are praising them, saying this is the perfect interpretation of them. Same with Harry Potter. A lot of people with Harry Potter are like, these people look too good. Harry looks too good compared to what he looked like in the book of the illustrations.
Right.
So
Ron was supposed to be 6 foot. What happened there?
Yeah. So
actor didn't grow from age 11 to 17 quite like we predicted, and he ended up at 5'8". So throw the movies away.
I can find, again, I have to preface, I haven't read these comments, so I don't know. If you have, you've read more than I have.
Yeah.
I'm coming at a perspective of just the idea of it. If someone's critiquing a actor's physical appearance, I also do feel, as I actually stated this in my latest video, if you're just going to go out there and being a dick, don't be a dick when you're like reviewing a beer because of something you don't like. Don't review it then. If you're going to give a critical review and have your reasons behind it, I think that review should stand. Even if it's 1 star, if you feel you have, here are points, but if you're just sitting there saying, their hairstyle in this person's different, that person wasn't black in the books, that's a stupid review and shouldn't be valid. I mixed feelings on blocking reviews and not. It's similar argument I've had with you and Steve with like Untapped reviews. It's the same thing. I don't like the fact they're blocking it, but I also think people are assholes too, and someone's got to try something. And if they're the first to try it, the first company that's going to try this, they're going to get hatred for doing it. And for all we know, in the future, they might find the right algorithm, or this is going to be the first step into finding the algorithm to get rid of a lot of trolls, because there are great shows and great movies that always get trolled on, no matter what. And there are super fans of one show, and then people will say other people are trolling them. So who's right, who's wrong? It's hard to tell. But when you're doing stupid, bigoted reviews, especially those stupid, I feel those racial ones, those are the ones I really personally hate. That's just a stupid thing. If the actor is good at portraying it and it's fine, I don't care. He's a good actor.
Yeah.
Or actress, whatever.
This is going to be a little bit of a controversial comment. I have a bit of an issue with the attack on voice actors for not being a particular race. Now, don't misunderstand that quote. I do think every minority, every voice actor, regardless of what their skin color is, regardless of their nationality, should be represented in media. And voice actors are certainly no different. Voice actors often, especially with like series, like TV series, like you ever go and watch the credit rolls for like Futurama or Rick and Morty or whatever else, and you start recognizing a very similar group of folks who voice like 30 characters in an episode. Yeah. You've got your Maurice LaMarche. You've got your gosh, now I'm drawing a blank on everyone. Maurice LaMarche, he's got Billy a very West. Recognizable voice. Billy West. You've got your Anyway, there was an outcry years ago about voice actors being underrepresented in TV and movie and things like that. I feel if a voice actor is able to do the role, it doesn't matter what their race is. However, and again, this is a slippery slope. Like, don't misunderstand me. I'm not saying hire every white guy to do every black guy voice. Or hire, Maurice LaMarche to be, Maui in Moana next time. Like, it's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is, like, TV shows like The Simpsons, when you have a white guy who did the voice of Abu for 20 years, and all of a sudden there's a problem with that voice actor, who also plays like 10 other characters in the show, of him playing a character in that show. I don't think that's a problem. I do think it's a problem if you're hiring a lead voice actor who stepped over an actor of a similar race or similar color or something like that for a role. But if a voice actor has talent and they're on a TV show and they're voicing 30 actors, you don't necessarily need to paint the characters in the same brush as the voice actor that's portraying them. In fact, oftentimes they're not. Have you seen Billy West? He looks nothing like Fry.
Oh, yeah.
He's a little closer to Stimpy, in my opinion. But, sorry, Billy. Matt Berry. Yeah, there you go. Yeah, Phil Lamar. That was the one I was thinking of. Phil Lamar.
What is
Mel
it?
Blanc, yeah. And where do you draw the line at animals? At anthropomorphic animals? Who's going to voice the bunny?
Yeah. Mark Hamill. Mark Hamill does a bunch of voices.
Hank Azaria, that's another one. Yeah. There's so many phenomenal voice actors that I don't think banning a voice actor who happens to be white or black from voicing a character from the opposite color or a different nationality, I don't think we need to take it that far. I do think if you are casting a single character, yeah, take it into account.
Sure, take it into account. I think something we've always said is, if they're good and if it tells the story, I guess it's always, to me, it's if you have the merits. I don't pass up the person because they're not that. Mm-hmm. Base it on the skill of their level. Like if a person is a particular nationality, then they're playing a role, voicing or acting. If they're a good actor and they do it well, I don't care. Hamlet can be black or Asian or an Irish guy or a white guy. I don't care. If it's done well, I will enjoy it.
Do you know what no one ever had a problem with? Is, do you know the Fairly Odd Parents, Timmy Turner?
Yes.
Okay. Do you know the voice actor for Timmy Turner?
I've heard him before, but
no, you haven't. Tara Strong. She is the voice of most of the Powerpuff Girls. She's the voice of...
Yeah, no, I've heard her.
The Rugrats. Right. She voices Timmy Turner.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, she does. She also does, what was the baby in Rugrats?
Yeah, Dill. Yeah, she did Phil and Lil.
Yeah. So, I've
she did the twins.
Her.
Yeah. No one seemed to have a problem with Tara Strong voicing Timmy Turner. So,
well, I mean, the voice for Bart Simpson is a girl,
right? Exactly. So, again, don't misunderstand me. I'm not saying don't represent. I'm not saying don't take it into account. But holy crap, there are times when it's okay too.
Yeah, totally. So that's fine. Yeah, no, I agree.
They hired hold on. Peter Dinklage. They hired Peter Dinklage to play Tyrion Lannister. Should they have hired an actual hunchback with dichromia?
Yeah.
Where he had one black eye and one green eye? Because that's what it was written in the book. Like, where do you draw the line? And there is a point of underrepresentation and misappropriation and things like that are rampant through popular media. But there are times when you have to take a step back and say, I'm going to hire an actor to play a part, and this actor is the best person for that job.
Well, actually, you want to know what the worst part is there are, unfortunately, the other side to that, where studios and places to get around it is they just hire the same two actors. Mm-hmm. There's how many, if you think about how many movies you've seen in the past 30 years, what two Indian actors, Native American Indian actors, do you think come to mind as the villain or that guy? There's like two. I could put up two and like, oh yeah, 90% of these two guys play every Indian in every movie. Mm-hmm. Every Indian chief or Indian bad guy or whatever.
Yep.
These two actors. Yep. Just because you're representing them doesn't mean, there's also that, try to find that hidden talent, that gem out there, right. Don't always play that easy. There's also very hard too, because, you're the casting director and then you're getting beaten down by the studio. There's probably a lot more that we're not seeing, but it's more of a cultural thing, of like, right. We need to rise above certain ideological views and perspectives, that we should be better. And it's just one step at a time.
Right.
Super chat from Denver. There we go.
I'm on first episode now, and my only critique is that the isolated Harfoot's people seem to have different accents, and the Foley seems off. Really, this sound for that. I like how this isn't star-studded. So I'm assuming first episode of Rings of Power.
Yeah. I mean, I like the idea that it's not star-studded too, because you're finding new talent, and this is going to expand the pool of talent for other shows to come.
Right.
I like that idea.
Right. But I do tend to like shows that aren't necessarily star-studded. And again, nothing against phenomenal, well-established actors, but I always love seeing new actors kind of rise to the occasion and turn a role into their own, and not just be like, oh yeah, that's Brad Pitt playing some other guy now. Yeah, and
I know. Yeah.
Gearling says, I'm most annoyed that the dwarf lady doesn't have a beard. Like, talk about appropriation. Little known fact, none of the Klingons on Star Trek were played by real Klingons. Like,
that is true.
Right.
You know, there were no actual androids on the Enterprise.
Right.
So
C-3PO was a 5'2" Anthony Daniels who weighed like 105 pounds soaking wet. Like, those were fake parts when he showed those.
They did not get a real pod racer to do those scenes of the pod racing.
Right. So Bulba was puppeteered by Yoda. Not the same puppeteer. It was Yoda holding up puppets while also being puppeteered. So, puppeteer by proxy.
Well, see, if we want to talk about that, I mean, really, Yoda was the worst one, because they took away that puppet and gave it to his job to a CG actor later on. Oh, that's appropriate.
Jeff says, wait, then who was Data? No. Data actually was an android. Brent Spiner really is cybernetic in real life.
Oh.
Anyway, we could spend all day on this topic. John, how is your beer coming along?
I have a sip left.
That's about where I'm at, so I think I'm gonna polish it off, and then we'll jump into the next one. You can take 2 sips if you need, my friend.
I am slightly regretting my decision. Not fully, slightly.
Just slightly? Yeah.
Just slightly.
So for my next beer, I have from Toppling Goliath. It is 18 Hours from Brooklyn IPA. It is a 7.8% IPA, featuring Idaho 7, Citra, Saz, Simcoe, Nelson Sauvin, and Mosaic hops. And it is a collaboration between Toppling Goliath and Other Half Brewing. And I have heard nothing but good things about this beer. I think we missed a super chat, says Tech Geek. No, we read Denver as super chat. Did we miss one further up?
Oh, yeah, Tech Geeks.
Oh, Tech Geek. How did
20
we...
bucks.
Okay.
I think we're ranting. That might have been my rant.
So yeah, he's trying to get me to never give you up and never let you down. $20 from Tech Geek. We're no strangers to love. You know the rules, and so do I. A full commitment's what we're thinking of. You wouldn't get this from any other guy. I just want to tell you how I'm feeling. Got to make you understand.
Yeah.
I think he was making reference to my "Don't Misunderstand Me."
I think so. Yeah, right after that
would be my guess.
What was my rant? Wow, that was a big beer, especially on an empty stomach.
Right.
I still won't learn my lesson.
That
I'll probably
pour.
do it again.
That pour.
Oh, look at that.
Oh, wow.
I need a glove. There it
Stick
is.
my nose in the foam. Ooh. That's a rich, rich orange.
Wait, would that would Tech Geek technically, would that classify as a Rickroll?
That would classify as a Rickroll, because your mind wants to go, never gonna give you
Yeah, we just got Rickrolled by Tech Geek.
I told you. I told you.
All right.
He was trying to tell us that he's never going to let us down.
I know. I have. Man, this is another big beer. I did not think it was this big. Okay. Well, there we go. I just grabbed it. Actually, I thought this was a stout. Lord Hobo's Museum Triple IPA. So this is coming in at 11%.
Boy, you are swinging for the fences tonight.
Man.
I will give you a chance for a mulligan.
I broke the seal.
You broke the seal? It's done.
No drinking for me for the rest of the night.
It's going to be a fun after party, I'll tell you that much.
I already have to pee.
So
Ooh, that's nice.
So longtime friend of the show, John Jay, sent this one over to me. Holy crap. Like, this is kind of the pinnacle of where hazies have wanted to be. Because as you can see, it's a double IPA, but it's very opaque. Like, there's not much light getting through that.
Well, boy, funny you should say. This is also from John Jay.
Is it?
Yes. So thank you, John.
Here you go. Here you go. Like,
ooh, look at that. All right. No, mine's quite clear, actually.
Yeah. So this is, I think this is the precipice of where hazies have wanted to be since The Alchemist. And I had The Alchemist last week. So it's very fresh in my mind. Oh, yeah. Very
clear. I mean, that's nice and bright.
So, yeah, The Alchemist is very fresh in my mind as far as, like, the godfather of hazies.
Mm-hmm.
And it's very juicy, very enjoyable. This has, unlike hazies of the last 5 years, no burn whatsoever. There's no acid. There's no off-putting flavors. It really is like a slightly hoppy and dank, thick, pulpy orange juice.
Oh, I love those. Those are fantastic.
Lot of orange. And towards the back, ever so slightly floral. So it leaves you, I don't want to say bright. I don't want to say bright or playful or anything like that. Like, that's not the right word. But it's like, it hits you with like this thick orange juice up top, and then just kind of fades into this lavender kind of floral note. It's actually really good.
So like orange juice with a touch of floral lavender?
Right.
Now, interesting. I really didn't jig this one. It's very West Coast. Centennial, Simcoe, Galaxy Mosaic. So yeah, very good. Really, that's the thing is I am enjoying more of the West Coast styles. Just I'm kind of burnt on hazies. It's like that's all you end up having. I go to tap rooms for on the weekends and stuff. It's just like all you have are hazies.
Yeah.
Or pumpkin beers now.
Give me a crisp West Coast. Like.
Yeah, I just want a nice crisp West Coast. I had a lager or pilsner yesterday for dinner. It's like this is great because it was a hoppy pilsner.
Yeah.
And I had some Asian with it. I was like, oh, this is actually very well balanced. It worked very well. Just not 5.5%. I just wanted the flavor combination.
Yeah.
So I'm really, especially like on Tavor, really trying to buy the weirder or unique stuff. Everything on there is just hazies or jammy sours. It's like I'm really sick of these now, guys. This is kind of boring. Why can't breweries be a little bit more creative? I mean, that's why I'd rather drink pickled beers than that. At least it's different. So we got to get you to come over though for the hot dog seltzer. I know you. Hey, it's not pickle.
It,
Not pickle.
if you mix them together, some people might say that's a meal.
Maybe we can do that. I have all the other ones still saved and preserved. You can try them.
Moving
I'm
on.
sure. And the next story. See, that's a great way to segue is to start talking about pickle first. Crypto. Crypto's always back in the news.
Crypto's back in the news. This one's a bit of an interesting story. So this comes directly from a Twitter thread from Risen, who is a longtime crypto guy. He's been into Bitcoin and Ethereum since 2011, so 11 years now has been dabbling in crypto. And he sent a very quick update to let everyone know that he's going offline because he'll be spending the next 6 to 15 months in prison for selling Bitcoin.
Person to person.
Right. Yeah, peer-to-peer selling Bitcoin. And this should pique everyone's interest when it comes to Bitcoin and the response from federal authorities. And cryptocurrency in general, not just Bitcoin. So, one thing I didn't even know is, did you know that transacting Bitcoin peer-to-peer, that is individual to individual, is actually a federal crime punishable by up to 5 years in prison? USC 1960, as interpreted by Finson back in the middle of the 2019s when it was passed, says you must register as an intermediary if you plan to distribute cryptocurrency in exchange for actual monetization, actual federally backed currency. So this is quite an interesting read. Long and short of it is that Risen had a Bitcoin exchange business that he had set up, sold it to a client of his back in 2019, and then on October 23rd of 2021 was raided with a warrant, and they seized nearly $60,000 worth of his property, electronics, laptops, phones, anything that could have possibly been related to the transfer of Bitcoin. He spoke to investigators, which, by the way, if you've never seen the YouTube video, Never Talk to the Police, don't ever talk to the police.
Don't talk to the police.
Get a lawyer. Innocent, guilty, doesn't matter. I don't care what you've done. I don't care what you haven't done. Get a lawyer.
Know your state's rights. Even just getting pulled over with a ticket. Know your state's rights. Don't talk to a lawyer.
It's not states' rights.
Don't talk to...
It's federal rights. It's constitutional right. You have right to representation.
Yeah, exactly. Just you have the right to remain silent. You know that? There you go. Yep. Use that. You can sit there, you don't even have to roll your window down. Yep. Okay? So
anyway, get a lawyer. Never talk to the police. Never talk to the police on your own.
There you go. That's a good one.
After speaking transparently with agents, I thought this was going to be the end of it, as it was my client's fraud and not mine. So basically, they started tracking this down because the business that Risen used to own and then sold wound up committing wire fraud, essentially. Even though it was not he who committed fraud, he was still in violation of USC 1860. Which was again referenced right up here, 18 USC 1960, for distribution of digital currencies in exchange for federally backed currencies. Now, there's a lot to dive into here. Department of Justice wanted to throw the book at him and put both he and his wife away for an unsustainable amount of time. Oh, TrueNAS is in chat. Hello, guys. Hope you're having a good night. Hello.
Hey, guys.
We're doing quite well. TrueNAS, what are you guys drinking tonight? What are you drinking in the late hours for you?
Oh, TrueNAS, I am definitely having a good time, so cheers to you.
Everything broke on my network today except for my TrueNAS server. So, yes. I'm doing quite well. Anyway, basically, they forced Risen into taking a plea deal in which he said that he's going to prison. He's going to prison for 15 months in exchange for letting his wife not go.
Yeah. I mean, all of this in general is bull. I read like half the thread, and I mean, my goodness, it is just horse pucky. It's not. We can't, Jeff. We used to be able to do this at 10 o'clock or 9 o'clock. Now I can't say anything. It's even more family friendly. But it is like what comes out of a donkey's behind when he has way too much asparagus or something. What they're trying to go after him for is ridiculous. I mean, he even had a license to do this, a state operating license, and they're going to trade. Now, if you want to trade crypto of any kind, you need a license to be a broker that way. And he had that, a statewide one, and they're saying, you know what, we don't care because, well, we just don't care.
Right, because you didn't have the federal license, and then federal licensing, you have to do over $10,000 per month to keep your license. If you do under $10,000, you're now technically in violation of that license, and that's basically what they nailed him for.
Yeah, and it's just...
So someone trying to do everything the right way. Someone trying to follow new laws literally as they're written, because federally they didn't know what was going on either. And now, because his former company committed fraud, he's on the hook for whatever they decide to throw at him.
I know. To me, when I was reading this brought me back to memories of the Napster downloading stuff. Now, this isn't the same because that was illegal, but they didn't go as hard. And I wonder if the feds are thinking, this is the new version of downloading stuff, and there's all these transactions, and people are ripping people off left and right. So we have to crack down on anyone. Right. And they're just trying to go after people. I mean, how many times did we hear back in the early 2000s, they downloaded 600 songs, slapped with an $80,000 fine. I was like, what was that for? That's stupid. There are people that are downloading terabytes of this stuff, and they're getting away with it. This is someone who has trying to do the right thing, had a license, navigating waters that no one had laws for yet. And he's like, I'm trying to do the research. I'm an OG of this type of thing. I just don't know. You don't have the time to constantly keep up, and they're like, nope, screw you.
Denver in a super chat, sorry to interrupt, has a fantastic point for $5. So my local Dollar Tree franchisee is a felon for not selling 10,000 in Google Play gift cards each month. You might not be wrong. However, the difference is that because a gift card is still dealing in US dollars, it is still dealing in federal currency. You're exchanging currency for, yes, a digital form of currency, but a gift card is legal tender at the business that it's assigned to. And there are ways to actually cash out gift cards. You just have to jump through so many hoops and ladders. It's not actually feasible to do, but technically they're following the law. The problem is when you're dealing with an unregulated, unbacked currency like crypto. Or something that's not even federally recognized. So it's not like you're an exchange, you're exchanging, Canadian loonies for US dollars. You're exchanging something that is digital for something that's not digital and federally recognized. And that's kind of where this all comes into play. Again, why there was a $10,000 minimum to have the registration is beyond me, because let's say you have a bad month and all of a sudden you're going to prison like that doesn't sound right. But you also have a point that technically a gift card is not legal tender unless it's to the business that you purchased it from. So is a gift card technically cryptocurrency? Is it technically digital tender and not actual US dollar?
No, no, because technically held by a bank somewhere, isn't it? Aren't like, some credit union?
Most gift cards are backed by credit card companies, whether it's there's Global, there's Barclays, there's so many different holding companies, and I believe you're right, John, that most of them are held as currency, essentially like a bank account. Like the gift card is just a debit card that can only be exchanged at certain locations.
Yeah,
I think you are right there.
Yeah. So, but still, your point is still valid, but right. This is so dumb. And to hear a story like this, and then no matter what, that just discourages anyone from doing dealings like this, and then at the same time, just faith in people and works of government and bodies, and it's just so dumb.
Yeah. I'm not into crypto. I'm not a crypto believer. Just look at graphics cards. Think of graphics cards as crypto. I know they're related, but just think of graphics cards as crypto. They're an unregulated piece of trade. And they went from $2,600 at their peak, $2,750, which is what I spent for a 3090. Today on eBay, you could buy an EVGA RTX 3090 for the Win 3 for $750. Buy it now, free shipping.
Yeah.
It's unregulated. You can do whatever you want with it. And
that's a stupid thing too. It's like they're regulating stocks. It's like crypto is no different than that. You're gambling money. It's gambling. You're just gambling. That's all you're doing. And they got him on just stating, hey, you didn't report your gambling losses? Or essentially something along that line. It's like, what? It wasn't even him gambling. That was the thing. He sold it all away. It was like, well, someone that had your money that won it off or that you sold it to your chips to screwed up. And because you didn't have a license to sell him your chips, you're screwed.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, what?
He also points out later in the Twitter thread that they're currently still passing laws and regulations as to how to handle his type of business, his type of exchange. And he feels like he's going to be going to prison for something like a weed offense where states are actively trying to decriminalize it. And so he's going to be serving time for something that winds up being legal in 2 to 3 months from now.
But that's, I mean, I read, I think that's where I stopped. I mean, I get that.
But
something's illegal.
But he was also illegal. Trying to follow the established laws as they were on the books while they were being written during that whole time too. And there's not quite the parallel there that weed was technically illegal, period. However, it wasn't responsible for violent crimes. It wasn't responsible for many other things. So why are people who were caught with a dime bag serving 10 years? And why is someone who sold $100,000 in crypto, which to me is a good, not a currency. It's a digital good and it's a stupid one, but it's technically a good. It's like buying Fortnite bucks. Why is someone who sold $100,000 in Fortnite bucks going to prison for exchange fraud?
Yeah, I know. Why can't we go after companies that sell stupid loot crates that, you have to buy it to win the game, basically? Why can't we do that? A false advertisement. It's a similar thing of just, promises to buy this and goods and services. It's frustrating. So.
Denver says Cole's Cash. Yeah, there's another one. There's another great one.
Oh, yeah.
So... yeah,
I got my.
It's a crazy story. There's a lot to read, as he published.
I couldn't read all of it. Yeah,
he published the FinCEN guidance, which is essentially the crypto exchange guidance that was written in August of 2019. He also sold his business in 2019, and so all of his alleged offenses were before the guidance was even written on how to run an exchange properly. However. He was still raided. He still had property seized, and he's still going to be serving time.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know.
I fear his story is not all that unique.
No, It's not, and I feel bad for the guy. Sincerely do. I don't know how much he made. He probably could sit there and fight it forever, and the government might be sitting there thinking, "I want you to fight it because then I'm going to get all that crypto money that you ever earned, and we can't regulate that right now or whatever at that particular time of year to tax it. So we're going to go after you." I don't know, or you're going to serve time in jail. We're just like he stated with the plea deal. They were trying to hit him with 30 years, and then because he shared a bank account with his wife 30 years. And the only reason that he took this deal was because he didn't want to involve his wife. So he basically struck a deal saying, I will do, there's no way I'm doing this much time because what you're asking was ridiculous. I will do a bare minimum of 15 months as long as you take my wife out of it, and she will not get a criminal record. Essentially, he's just falling on the sword now.
Right.
And they were
betting that's exactly what's happening.
Yeah, and they were either betting on that or he's going to sit there and lose all of his money in lawyer fees.
Right. So Steve says, what's the difference between Bitcoin and CSGO skins exactly? Why wouldn't the market get crushed under this law? It's because CSGO skins are considered a good, not a currency. They're not promoting themselves as a currency. Bitcoin is promoting itself as a currency. It's being treated as a currency. And they are held very differently under the laws of pretty much every government, regardless of where you're at. So even though CSGO skins may be kind of like a stock market, the prices may fluctuate wildly depending on what hat you happen to get that day. It's not promoting itself as a way to purchase other goods and services, which is what Bitcoin is trying to do. You can buy Domino's pizza with Bitcoin, and Bitcoin is accepted as a form of legal currency in some locations. Now, from a semantic standpoint, I understand your argument.
Yeah.
But unfortunately, they are treated differently under the law.
You know, what's interesting is I was sitting there thinking, you said as a currency. So I was trying to look up the timeline, and I doubt this is anything really big.
What about Xbox Store points, where you literally exchanged? That's a way better comparison.
That's a much better comparison.
What about paying $10 for 6,000 Xbox points so you could buy goods and services off of the Xbox Store? Is that not a cryptocurrency? Does that not have a fluctuating value? It's only exchangeable on the Microsoft Store. What about Nintendo bucks? What about Fortnite bucks? Where you're literally exchanging US currency for a different form of currency to buy goods and services other locations. I'm sure there are some people who would give you cash for Fortnite bucks on the open market.
Oh, yeah. I mean, well, that's another thing. How many times do you see that on eBay or other stores that's their company is they trade in gift cards and, game store points, the PlayStation, Xbox, all that other stuff. Interesting thing was he didn't get served till, I don't know why I remember this, but El Salvador actually claimed Bitcoin as a legitimate currency, which was September 21, and he got raided October 21.
Yeah.
The 1 month after, doubt it has anything, that it was by a particular country actually deemed a legitimate currency. 1 month after that, he gets raided. Yeah. Kind of weird. Doubt it's anything, but we could talk forever again about our hatred for Bitcoin. Or the crypto market and how NFTs and all that bullcrap is a scam. Sorry, I said it. It's still early, family-friendly show. I'm having a 14 and 11% beer. So please forgive me.
You're doing well, John.
I'm trying. So I think we should move on to the next one before we keep ranting about this.
Yes, because we can go on forever. And I feel I agree. I feel like we're talking in a circle at this point.
Yeah.
All right. Open source password manager Bitwarden raises $100,000 in funding to continue development. Now, this is really freaking cool and a huge win for the open source community in general. So, Bitwarden's been around since 2015, and they are one of the most well-known password managers at this point. There's a couple of others like 1Password, KeePass, and such that are open source and are essentially 100% client based. Bitwarden is the only one that is striving to be a client server based software where you can host a password library and then host clients that will connect to your self-hosted library with open source encryption, and you'll be able to access that wherever you are. There are commercial solutions for this, like LastPass, NordPass, etc., which all have their pros and cons. They're backed by large companies. They also use 256 AES encryption, but you don't actually host your password log. You don't actually host your database. You have to take their word that everything is fine. You have to take their word that everything on the back end is 100% secure and uncrackable. Whereas something like Bitwarden, there are people who review the code on a regular basis to check and make sure that everything is actually encrypted. Everything is actually up to standards in the software stack itself. And Bitwarden, you get to host the database yourself. So there's no worry about data leaks or anything like that. And the really cool part is Bitwarden just secured $100 million in grants and user donations to continue its mission of keeping an open source password manager going.
Yeah. No, I mean I like Bitwarden. No offense to Nord. I know it was a sponsor, but I use Bitwarden on my work computer, so I like them. So when I read this, I was like, great, better infrastructure. There's a couple things I didn't particularly care, but it was free, and I was like, I liked everything they did. So like, I used this. I recommended it to our team, and I think some of the people use it, but it was like, I really like the company. I think they're great. If you're looking for password protection, how many articles have we talked about of randomizing your passwords? Always use different passwords. Going back to the crypto, there was always about crypto hacks of passwords using stuff. Bitwarden, Nord, all those places do stuff like this. So if you're looking for a great one, I recommend Bitwarden. If you want, Nord does a great one too. So there's a lot of great places out there, but I do highly recommend, at least in the IT field, change your password, check them all the time. Don't use the same one all the time. Okay, it's a bad thing. I know it's repetitive. It's got to be said because there's going to be like one person in the stream that's like, I've never heard that before. And I want to help that one person.
I've used a number of different password managers over the years. We did use LastPass a couple times at my previous organization.
I've done that one too.
I've done LastPass. I've done NordPass, both privately and as a sponsor. They actually came on after I had already started using them personally. I've actually been looking at doing Bitwarden lately here because most of the password managers have done away with their free tiers as far as like LastPass and NordPass goes. And I still have NordPass myself, but the free tier means that it logs you out after 5 minutes of inactivity. So you have to re-log in, and then you're greeted by not one, but 2 nag screens to tell you to please sign up for NordPass Premium. And so it feels like NordPass exists just to upsell you, not as a, hey, if you only need to run it on one device, we're a great option. Even if you only run it on one device, it's just full of like, please buy the premium version anymore. And that's the same reason I left LastPass like 2.5-3 years ago. Was they did away with their free tier where you could have like up to 5 logins and you'd be fine, to you could have 1 login, or you could only use mobile or desktop. You couldn't log into both without kicking yourself off the other. So And every time you logged in, you were inundated with like 2 or 3 pop-ups of like, please buy our premium version. Look, if you have a good service, I'll pay for it. That's fine. But
Yeah.
yeah. Denver chimes in with $5. Thank you very much. Clarification, US 18 Code 1960 passed in 1992, and things like Kohl's Cash and even checks fall under this law. That is a fantastic thing to note. So if they are going after someone over 18 US 1960, that could mean literally any form of currency that is not cold hard cash or wire transfer.
Yeah.
Cold Drip Gaming says, I missed LastPass. Bitwarden has its quirks, but once LastPass threw its heavier paywall restrictions, I couldn't do it. And yeah, that was kind of my same last straw with LastPass was, you used to be able to do like 6 devices no matter what they are on their free tier, and if you needed more than that, or if you needed team access or shared passwords or things like that, you paid for their premium tier. And I paid for their premium tier for years, both as an individual and as a business. And it was only when they changed and they started restricting you can only log on with mobile or only log on with desktop if you have the free tier. You can't do both at the same time, that I switched over to NordPass. And NordPass I had, a fairly good relationship with. Pretty inexpensive, like $3-4 a month, I think. Or if you bought the entire year, you can get it for like $25-30. But I let it lapse, and all of a sudden it's like, why do I even have that? Because I can only log in with one device and only for 5 minutes at a time. And every time I log in, I have to clear 2 nag screens to tell me to upgrade and give them $3. It's like, it's not worth it. So I've been actively exploring new password managers, and I think I might spin up Bitwarden and see what it's like these days. All right. We do have one bit of alcohol-related news.
We do.
And that comes from Scotland's oldest working distillery.
Yes.
This is really exciting. Really exciting.
Interesting. Well, if you have the money, the first article I had.
Can someone super chat me $46,619 in US or 40,000 euros? Like whichever is more convenient for you. I'll even cover the exchange fees.
It's fine. You're right. No, the Forbes had the picture, but then they were like, "Please subscribe to our article." I was like, screw you, Forbes. But I put this, and this came up like right after last week's Talking Heads. I was like, oh, this is something we should talk about. So this isn't the world's oldest, but it's the oldest, Scotland's oldest working distillery, and their oldest, there you go, and their oldest scotch. And they have been aging this 50 years in sherry casks. And it has a cask strength of only 40 ABV, honestly. So not super cask strength, but still 50 years old. Bottle number 2 is going, and plus, there's only 150 bottles of this, is going to go for 4,000 euros or 4,619. There will be an auction for bottle number 1. First bid, starting bid starts at $27,973. Expected somewhere between $34,000 to $69,000, close to basically $70,000 for bottle number 1. But yeah, so kind of a cool thing. If anyone's got that kind of money to spend, hey, I'd like to be your friend. I got some beers I could share with you that are like,
we could bring
$100.
some really nice brews over.
Yeah, we can bring some. I mean, Scotland doesn't know anything about beer, so well, they've got not Dogfish Head.
Well, they tried that 75% one.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah. Well, there's that. I can bring them some of that.
Yeah.
So that's kind of cool, though. Auction starts August 30th through September 9th. So if any of you are entrepreneurs or have that kind of money or are willing to shell it out, let us know, because we would love to become even better friends. Free Discord membership if you share with us. For life.
Novella Hub sends over 40,000 doll hairs. Then Denver says, dang, YouTube only lets me super chat in small bills. Jake says, probably has so much char flaked off you could use it as liquid smoke and then make regular smoke when you tried to torch all the 40 ABV that might be in there. How much super chat money would it take to have Jeff do a video showcasing his hat collection? I do have quite a few hats. It wouldn't take that much, although I don't have them all in one place. They're literally on hat hooks all throughout my house.
If you do some more of those $500 super chats, I'm pretty sure he'd be willing to do it.
I mean, I could walk upstairs for a five piece, you know. Like,
I mean, you want, you know, I guarantee Jeff would probably do it for like $250, but it'd be a craft extra.
Right.
So, or craft computing short.
Yeah. I have 5 or 6 different flat caps at this point. I have a whole bunch of different other baseball caps, sport caps. I've always been a hat guy. You know, if I wasn't working, I was usually wearing a hat. So yeah, the flat cap is definitely more of a recent development. I started this about 2 years ago, and then I think only about a year ago started wearing them on the channel on any kind of a regular basis. So yeah.
So we got a couple minutes. You watched the latest Star Trek Lower Decks?
I haven't watched episode 2. I only watched episode 1.
Episode 1's still good. I like it.
Yeah. I enjoyed it. I feel like they haven't jumped the shark as far as the old trope with cartoons, as far as no longer writing characters and instead writing jokes for the characters to say. And
I like episode 2 is much better because episode 1 it was a continuation where you have to finish the story, the cliffhanger of the you know, the Star Trek cliffhanger. That's what you're supposed to do for a big season. That's, you know, how many DS9s, TNGs were cliffhangers, and it's like, oh, the next episode, yeah, we gotta stay. Yeah. And so it was. I think they were trying to do something like that. Find with this
out,
one.
Does Picard live or die as a Borg in 6 months?
Exactly.
Like, you guys don't even know.
Oh, back then that was a huge deal because everyone thought they were going to, you know, replace Jean-Luc Picard. I mean, there's memes about it now.
Right.
Even to this day. But no, episode 2, if you haven't watched it, it's good, classic. Not even classic Star Trek, but it's like, I want to say classic Lower Decks, essentially. But it's a really good Rick and Morty, you know, Star Trek. All the fan base, you feel the love of the writers. Are like, oh, we're gonna have so much fun with this, and it was really good. Yeah, it was all around. I really liked it. I don't want to spoil it for you. Go watch it tonight.
I've heard a little bit about episode 2 that they're doing First Contact Day.
There's a First Contact Day, and roles have to be reversed. Yeah. And then Boiler has to essentially does a Jim Carrey yes man thing. And gets him into trouble.
I do like that James Cromwell came back too.
Yeah. And so
didn't see you there. I was just finishing up the warp core.
Yeah, exactly. So
I did see a bit of a trailer on it. It's like, oh, that's amazing.
So it's I like this one better than I like episode 1 just because I want some new Star Trek and I want Lower Decks.
Yeah.
This was like, okay, now I'm back in the swing of it. Now there's good jokes and everything else. It's like, oh, it's a good individual story. So really good stuff. Looking forward to more. When does Picard come back?
Not till February, I don't think.
Yeah, we're gonna might have to switch back the schedule with Rhett just to talk about it. Or or I might just interrupt like last 15 minutes.
Yeah, early 2023, so likely February. They've done February for the last two.
Or might next year, like 10, 15 minutes, kick right off.
Now we're going live to Hops and Brews to talk about...
I know, right? That'd be great. I like that. It's good stuff.
We can go full on. I've always envisioned Talking Heads as kind of a radio broadcast, not necessarily a podcast, but more like a radio show.
And we're going to live on the helicopter view.
Not quite that extreme, but I've always pictured Talking Heads as the talk radio that I listen to on drives home, because for almost 10 years I had a 1 hour plus commute to and from work, and so I listened to talk radio. And it sometimes it was sports, sometimes it was politics, sometimes it was whatever I happened to be on that day. And if I was listening to sports radio, sometimes it was 10 minutes sports and 40 minutes of politics. And if I was listening to political talk radio, sometimes it was 10 minutes of politics and 40 minutes of sports. And so while we talk about the news, I like to think of this more as like the news gives us a jumping off point for things that we want to talk about.
Yeah.
And I think it's always done well at that.
And I think the community here too, and especially I do like the newer hour special or hour time, because we're getting more people. And I think the fact that when we originally had it at a later time, we had that original core people that watched, and they watched because of what you're stating. They wanted to hear us rant and rave and talk about the news and the way we talked about the news and the different hosts that all of us had. That was the thing. People always have, I want a John night, I want a Steve night, I want a Rhett night, and there's the Rhett rant and the Red Alert rant and all of these different things. Everyone, yes, exactly. I need a beer rant. I need like
I'll get you a beer alert button next time.
There we go. But I've seen it through the community, through the Discord a lot of times the day after. If you haven't joined, check it out, the Discord. We have our own personal channel just for the Talking Heads. So there's chat here on YouTube, but there's chat on the Discord that members only get. And there's 100 different, not 100, but a lot of different channels. One of the best Discords you could ever get. Link is in the description below. Minimum $1 to join. And you'll get access to so much more than just talking to Jeff, myself, Steve, and Rhett. You're going to get talking to everyone else. There's a community of like 500 to 600 people there. Cars, trade, jokes, memes, beer, food, everything you want, music, pop culture. And it's great. It's one of the best Discords ever. But on there, you'll see people talking about, I can't wait for who's on this week, because our schedules constantly change. Some people get sick. Some people we're all dads. So we all have, hey, my son needs this, or I'm planning a vacation with my family. Can you cover? And we're graciously covering for everyone. We're all really good friends here. And I believe that shows through this show. We can argue and we can disagree, but at the end, we're like, look, we're just friends. It's our opinion. It's fine. Who cares? Let's have a beer.
John and Steve and I, like individually, have all had like knockdown, throwdown arguments before. But we're also friends.
For next week. Yeah,
come back for next week. Hey, cool.
Hey, cool.
What's next?
What beer are you cracking open this week, Joe? Oh, I got this one.
That's a good one. I had that one last week. It was pretty good.
Yeah, exactly. We don't care. I've known Rhett for years. I know his family, his brother-in-law, his which would be his wife's family. I've been around them for years. So we're all family and friends, essentially. And I believe that shows through. I think that's why people like the community that's here. And it's constantly, this new time slot is going to allow it to grow. And I really like that. So I think people, like you're saying, it's a talk show. There's a particular group of people that like hearing us talk this way. I think it's, like you said, it's a radio. I've always thought of it kind of similar to like when I was doing the tap room. Talking at the bar. Yeah. We're talking at a bartender or two people talking at the bar, having a drink, and just being like, hey man, I disagree. Or yeah, I totally agree with your point, and I'm gonna back you on that point. And I love you so much, blah, 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 right. With the drink. And it's great.
The Q&A is I always approach as Car Talk, because who didn't listen to Car Talk on Sundays with your dad? Like, that was just a constant AM thing when I was a kid. We didn't listen to the NFL in my house. We listened to Car Talk. And so, you know, whether we were driving around, whether we were going somewhere, there was always Car Talk on Sunday mornings. And, you know, again, it gives you a jumping off point to talk about, you know, oh, my Chevy 350. Oh, that reminds me of my old Chevelle that I used to have. Oh, yeah. And, you know, I used to take this girl out and, you know, we went and saw this movie. What'd you think about that movie? That's what I've always wanted to do. It's always the tangential stories, and relatable aspects of, you know, current events. So that's what I like. Anyway, John said it in the long way. I'm going to say it in the short way. Make sure to join the Patreon. Link is down in the video description. You can chat with myself, John, Rhett, Steve, all the hosts from Talking Heads throughout the week, and join the awesome community that hangs out over there, and help keep the lights on around my studio, as Patreon continues to be one of my main income generators. So if you like the channel and you want to see me continue what I do, link is in the description. Really? Already?
Yes.
We're not even to 2 hours yet. You got 5 minutes left because we were late.
Well, I'm sorry. I had a bigger bottle. I had no food.
John, I had the bigger can.
This is a 750 milliliter.
Is it?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. So you had a full bomber. Okay.
Yeah. So
he had a full bomber of 14.7. I think he deserves to get off early.
Yeah.
All right. I will show John some mercy, and I think we'll end it here.
I'm like sitting here doing this. I'm bobbing to music that's not here.
Thank you all so much for watching episode 251 of Talking Heads. Here on Craft Computing, every Wednesday night.
Oh, you're going slow on purpose. Screw you, man.
Every Wednesday night at 6 p.m. Pacific time for the latest in beer and tech news. Follow me on Twitter at Craft Computing. Follow John on Twitter at Hops and Brews for all of our daily shenanigans and happenings. John, anything to pimp coming out on Hops and Brews?
Just my show.
Just watch. Just watch. Okay.
Just watch. I gotta go.
Any other super chats? Any other questions that we can take? I'm sure we got plenty of time to field these. Thank you all so much for watching, and as always, we'll see you next week.
Hey, guys.
Cheers, everyone.